All right, all right, all right. Here we go. Wait for people to come on. Ooh, is it hot? Man, wow. It got wicked muggy all of a sudden tonight. It's crazy. Well, welcome to the live chat. Man, this is great. Wait for a couple people to come on. Hopefully the audio is up. Yep, I can see the audio right there. Let's see if we can get this mic a little. Nope, that's mute. Okay, good, good, good. Always having trouble with that stuff, you know. Not very tech savvy when it comes to computers. Or my editing will be better. Wow. Oh, let me get my drink real quick before everybody comes in. Hi, Andrew. All right, let me get my here and put my drink right here. Okay. All right. Good. All right. How's it going? Message retracted. Okay. All right. How are you? How's everybody doing? Miss Good from Wisconsin. How you doing? All right. Sweet. Welcome everybody. Welcome. Welcome. All right. Cool. 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 Got some people here in the chat, guys. I am thrilled. That was really super cool. How you doing? It was really super cool to be down there at Racerama. Guys, the bikes, the projects. I can't believe how many bikes sold, and I can't believe how many bikes didn't sell. It was unbelievable. It was something. If you're into bikes like I am, that was magical. Yes, I am. Yep, I've been back for a little bit. What do you call it? They've been doing a two-stroke Tuesday. Been doing some techs, and then this week right here we're going to be out in the shop, and we're going to be plugging away at a lot of bikes and motors and stuff like that. I got a lot of stuff to catch up on. Getting back into the swing of things. Kane, how you doing? What do you call it there? So yeah, it's really great. I can't wait to be back out there and getting this all done. That's this week. We'll be out there. In fact, be shooting some video tomorrow, so that'll be up on Thursday. We have a lot of stuff to do, a lot to do, a lot of projects, a lot of stuff that needs to get buttoned up because over the winter I have a lot of stuff, a lot of awesome projects, and I want to just concentrate on my stuff. But I don't want to have the the stuff that I have here for people um, hindering any of those type of progresses. I don't want to have commitments and stuff like that. I just want to be able to concentrate on bike builds and do that sort of thing, which is going to be super awesome because there's going to be a lot of tech. Um, what can we look forward to over the winter? Over the winter, we're going to be doing some what you call it there timing, port timing, um, changing port timing, which is how do I put that? It's kind of a controversial thing. There's pros to it, there's cons to it, um, and I'm going to show you guys why. Because I get a lot asked about these KE100s, and people don't like the rotary valve, or because you can't really premix them and all that. But let's take for a moment. What if we take a rotary valve engine and make it a reed valve engine? Yeah, so I think that has to happen. And so at some point over the winter, we're going to do that. Is that something that can be done? Oh, absolutely. Yeah, you can totally do that. Um, there's pros and cons to it, but you can totally do that. Any two stroke can do that. What do you call it there? So I'm going to show you guys a lot about that type of stuff. That would be yeah, yeah. It's gonna be, and we're gonna do it, and I'm gonna show you guys how to do it. Um, I'm gonna show you guys how to make a different intake system as well. So we're gonna have some stuff to do over the course of the winter. So um, I love rotary valves. So I'm going to use an engine that I'm not going to do anything with to do it. So experiment. And I still have that the KE 100 motor that I cut in half. So I got the transmission gearbox. I gotta clean that up and get that all up and going because I wanted to show you guys how the workings of the shifting forks and all that come into play. And we're gonna be doing a lot of stuff on missed shifts. So on bikes that have miss, like when you're missing shifts, um, those type of things. Let's see. Um, Smoking about 6,000 miles. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. Kane, I saw the pictures that you emailed me. Absolutely beautiful collection. Hands down. Absolutely awesome. Congratulations on that. That is awesome. Hey, Frank. So we have, what do you call it there? So we have a ton of stuff to do. I want to fire up the 10-speed KE 102 build this year. We're going to finish off most of that because I'm going to be doing something different with the front end and that sort of thing. So there's a lot. There's a lot that's going to be changing. Um, we're going to try different set of forks on it because we need to do disc brakes on the front. We got like I said, we got. Can you go over the wiring? Yep, I'll talk about the headlight wiring in a few minutes. So we definitely have a lot of projects. In fact, Frank, I do have a wiring video on that on my channel. I forgot what the name of it is. I gotta do a playlist, guys. I gotta get my playlist stuff in order. I'm also gonna work on that over the weekend, trying to clean up the channel because I got stuff everywhere. So yeah, so it's pretty cool. In reference to the headlight wiring, I mean, you have one wire that's your ground, and then you have your high and your low beam, and those go through your switch first. So the power comes from the regulator to the switch, and then from the switch to the headlight, and it just kind of travels up that way. And coincidentally, one of your fuses on your battery, you have two wires. You have what do you call it there? On most of the KEs and stuff, they have two wires. They have, yep, they're color coded. One is white with a red stripe, and one is white with a blue stripe. I forgot which one is the headlight one, or both of them. One might be high beam, one might be low beam. I could tell you this. In fact, I still have it over here. If you guys hold on one second, let me just go grab it. That right here. All right. You're gonna laugh at this, Frank, but this is my Play-Doh upside down because I drilled a hole in it. But that's my headlight plug right there. My two alligator clips, and this is what I use for testing light bulbs. Plug a headlight bulb into there. I hook this up to a 6-volt battery, and I got high beam, off, and low beam. Pretty neat. It's one of the tools I made because when you're dealing with bikes and you're trying to troubleshoot, you need to know if your battery, or not your battery, your headlight is any good. Because you can have a light bulb that's blown and it looks good, especially with 6 volts because they're not high amperage. Now, if you run your bike without a battery, you will blow the headlight out. That's a given. If it's on high beam, you'll blow out the high beam side. If it's not on high beam, you'll blow out the low beam side when you start it. And the reason for that is because there's a large spike in the voltage. And AC voltage is much higher than DC voltage. And that's why it has to go through a regulator. And the battery is what takes the hit. Okay, so the battery turns it on and then goes through the regulator. And that's how that works. So hopefully that helps you with that. As far as the electrical is concerned, Frank, I saw you emailed me. I will email you back. I'm not gonna be able to do it tonight because I have to get my manual out. I'll see if I can just email me the year, make, and model of your bike, and I will see if my manual has a schematic. I'll snap a photo of it and then I'll email it to you, and that should be able to help you with that. It'll have all the colors of the wires too on there. So, um, back on the projects, we got so much stuff. Um, we got the Kawasaki Eliminator. We have my CB350 that's going to be converted over to electronic ignition with bigger coil sets. You're very welcome. Um, what do you call it there? We have my Virago. I got to finish that off. I want to get all my bikes up and going before the winter. I have a couple of light fixtures I have to change on my KM. Um, let's see, my KD80 is going to get a speedometer, and we're changing the brake hub, and that's going to need new tires. So we have a lot of stuff to do to get these bikes up and done before we bring in any more bikes. Now, back on this amazing Rice-A-Rama thing. Guys, first off, I want to say thank you for all your support. The t-shirts, all the t-shirts that were bought, um, all the hoodies that were bought, the license plates, that really helps propel the channel. Any donations, even super chats or anything like that, really help the channel out. So I want to say thank you. Um, the cups, my wife has done a great job with the cups and the shirts. She pressed all the shirts herself. Um, it's really been great. It's really been great. You guys have been awesome. So thank you for if you purchased a shirt and help support the channel, thank you very much. It's been amazing. I really appreciate it. That really does help. Um, Trying to get to a point where we're really starting to grow. Um, and we are getting. Where's my phone for a second? Hey, Michael. Oh, I thought they were in the kitchen. I was gonna grab my phone, but anyway, we're almost at 12,000 subscribers. We are right on the cusp of 12K, which is awesome. And Super Clean has been amazing to work with and all that. And speaking about that, we have a winner for the spark plug guess. And Kane, are you here? Are you on the chat? Still, because Kane was the winner at 842 spark plugs. He got it dead on. And if you watch the channel, the what do you call it there? The video I posted at Rice-A-Rama, I counted them all out. So he'll be getting an email from me later on, and his information will go over to Super Clean, and then they're going to send them out a package themselves too. So that was super cool, and he's going to get a plate and a hoodie of his choice. So super cool. Thank you guys for all your support. It's been awesome, and of course I'm working, so I'm getting more and more spark plugs. So we're going to do something else that's going to be super cool. Also, spark plug related. So for another chance of winning at a later date. But and we're coming up on my birthday month, which would be October. So that's next month at the beginning of the month. Um, so I'm gonna do something special on my birthday with some bikes. And geez, I'm trying to think what else we're gonna do. Hmm. Yeah, we got. Hey, how you doing? Hey, Scott. Glad to. Glad. Oh yeah, it's been. Yeah, what's your question? Rice-A-Rama was just awesome. One of the coolest things was seeing all the kids riding around on. There was these two blonde girls on a Moto 4, and it seemed like everywhere my son and Michael went, they were there. Big smiles on their face, riding this little four wheel all around, and then they'd pass by, and then about 5-10 minutes later they'd come back again, but they'd be switched around. Um, I saw all kinds of kids on bikes. There was mopeds, scooters. The mini bike race was awesome. Um, just they had a girls class. They had an all class and all that. type stuff. It was just super cool to see and watch and to be part of. Um, there was so much fun. There was just so much fun. And it was all ages. It wasn't like one particular age, and it wasn't like a cutthroat race. Um, they really, they really had fun, and it was just great watching everybody have fun. It didn't matter if you had a 500cc bike or you had a 212 Predator bike. It was just great. It was just awesome, and just watching all the happiness that came from that, and just being part of something so big. And Jap Bike Mike and Dan, they threw a great venue. I mean, there was music. Um, there was, I mean, you name it, guys. It was there. Um, if you think it was just motorcycles, you're wrong. There was everything there. There was, what do you call it there? Like a Cessna airplane, not the airplane, but the nose cone. Those were there. I saw a Holly 4 barrel cob. I saw a couple of Holly 4 barrel cobs actually. I saw one KE. I saw one KD, and I saw one KV75. Those were super cool. I saw some bikes that I wanted, I couldn't afford, but that's okay. There's always next year. I saw an MR50. I saw one of the bikes I wanted, a Trail Hopper 50, and a QA 50 push rod motor. I like that little push rod motor. I like the sound it makes. It sounds so cool when it's running. It's like a bubble popper. I saw a bunch of RD 250, 350s, an RD 400, and then the show. Kaplan was there. Kaplan Motors. Um, they were there. I saw my friend Musty One. He came by, said hi for a few minutes. It's just really, really cool. This, I mean, you name it, it was there. You know, I did have to. I had to stay away from the junk pile. There was a junk pile. It was like, oh my god, I'm gonna leave with the world, and it was junk. Stuff people throw away was garbage stuff, but it was there was a lot of parts and pieces there. So yeah, it was very cool. It was very, very cool. I did grab a couple parts. I grabbed some manuals that someone got rid of. Um, but yeah, Domino's pizza delivered. They to the gate. That was super cool. We had pizza that night. Slept in the truck. Then Saturday night it rained out, torrential rain, a lot of wind, um, and I was able to help my neighbor keep his bike covered. He went to a motel. It was really cool, and he subscribed to the channel. Rob, guys, it's a family event. Literally, it's a family event. If you have a family and you want to take them out, go there. The bike show, the mini bike race, all that stuff, guys, it's worth it. Let's see, my GT80 sat for about a year, ran great. You may recall the picture of it. Sent you for two. What's this? My question is on the downshift 4 to 3 is okay, requires some force. Okay. Um, I would increase my RPM range. So you know how you do the RPM range from fourth to third? Sometimes you have to go a little bit higher on the downshift between third and second. And this ain't on all of them. And I don't know if they have different gears in some of them, but your GT80 might be an MX80. The MX80 um, requires a lot more. Bring up the RPMs a little bit on that last downshift there. Just because the ratio is so high. It is a GT80. Okay. Yeah. I mean, because I've seen like my MX80 that I had a green one earlier on in my channel. I don't have it no more. I sold it, and that bike, you really had to crank the RPMs up to get it down to that. Or In some cases, you may not require. So play around with your RPM range. Try it with a little bit more revs or a little less. But sometimes it might just be really close shifting. Um, and that would do it. So try that first. Change your RPM range on that particular shift. It's going to be a little bit weird to get used to because you're so used to doing it on your fourth to third. Then you have to give it a little bit more going from third to second. But yeah, try that first. And have you adjusted the clutch at all? How's the clutch feel? Does it work? Does it ship good? Yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. I love sharing the knowledge and what do you call it? There, it's really fun to be able to sit in my living room and share with you guys who are all over the. Kane is in Georgia for crying out loud. People from all over the place. I had someone from Canada the other day. It was awesome. Shifting up is perfect. Okay, so it's just on the downshift. Yeah, try increasing your RPMs a little bit. Definitely, I tried with increasing before decreasing. But yeah, try that first. I think you're just not quite. You might be just missing it. Which way? Let's see. What's this say? Which wires harness goes connected to the front turns? So on the and back, if you take the headlight out, you're gonna see two sets of wires. You're gonna have two blacks, and then you're gonna have some have two grays or one gray, one green. All right, and they're gonna share the same connector as your turn signals, but there'll be either two grays or two greens. What you're gonna have to do, unfortunately, is start your bike up, turn your directional on. Make sure your headlight is you can leave it unplugged. If you leave it unplugged, the directionals will actually blink faster. So disconnect your headlight, put that on somewhere safe, and then plug in your directionals. And then the black wire is going to go to black, and then you're going to have two gray wires on your directional. One of those is going to go to a green, the other one's going to go gray to gray. So that'll help you. And then, and if you're turn your right on and it's blinking left, just swap the two gray wires, and then you'll have your polarity correct. And that's all there is to it. It's really nothing crazy. Um, what the cool thing about that is on that particular bike, it has a special like the connectors are they are thin and long, so they'll match right up. And typically, you'll see the ground wire where the bolts are for to hold the headlight. That black wire comes right down right there. It's your ground. So real simple. And the two gray wires, or the gray and the green, will be on the bottom, typically on the harness, and then you run them around there. Be careful when you take the headlight out. All the wires are kind of focused around that dome of the backside of the headlight. So you don't want to be pulling the wires all over so they're in the way of the headlight. Then you try to push your headlight on and it won't fit back in. You just kind of want to leave them resting all on. Make sure they're in their happy place around the outer part of the headlight bucket. I ran into that a bunch of times, guys. It's a pain in the neck. You have to keep tucking it in and then tucking it because the wires have already been in that position for 20 plus years. So they're not going anywhere. You know what I mean? They're already bent around that dome, that position. So, oh gosh, I'm sweating profusely. I apologize. Um, yeah. So yeah, it was crazy. What else can I talk about, guys? I'm just over the moon about that. And my wife made the flyers; those came out amazing. We did flyers. Yeah, it was just like I said. If you guys have a chance to get out there, there's another meet in Cornish, New Hampshire. I'm not going to this one. I would love to. I can't afford it. It's this weekend already texted me, but um, this weekend coming up, there's a swap meet up in Maine, Cornish, Maine, which is not that far from here. And then on the 29th, there's one in Keene. I'm going to that one, but not to sell stuff. I'm just going to go look around, check out that atmosphere, see what they got. Because I'm thinking a lot of people from the main one will be going to the Keene one. Question. regarding around KU100 condensers. If you can only go half. I'm trying to read this. So I have. It takes me a little bit of a while to read and comprehend. So I apologize. And if they can go in. Oh yeah. I mean, when you say half bad on the condenser, you mean if the condenser is not so good, will it give you hard starting issues? Absolutely, absolutely. That is very common. If your condenser is bad or is going, there's either good or they're on their way out or they're just bad. And when they go bad, it's a hard start because you're not getting the punch that you need. As I showed you in that tech video I did last week, which we're going to continue on, not this week because I'm just still going on about Ricerama, but what do you call it there? As you saw that condenser really throw the voltage up to the coil. That's how that works. And if your condenser is weak, the spark is going to have less voltage going up to that coil. And it's very important that you have a good condenser and a good set of points. Those two things right there, condenser and points, and make sure you oil that little felt. Um, that's all part of a tune-up. So, you know, nowadays tune-ups don't exist on cars. People just replace a spark plug and an air filter, and that's it. But back in the day, a tune-up was way much more. Plugs, plug wires, cap rotor, adjuster points, air filter, PCV filter, PCV valve, and all that type of stuff. So, yeah, it was something. It was something to be desired. Hey, Michael, can you please send Andrew in here? So tonight, guys, I have a special guest. Okay, and you guys seen him on my channel before. His name is Andrew Bergeron, and he has a channel. If you have a child that's into soccer, okay, this kid has got an amazing channel. Check him out, Andrew Bergeron on YouTube, and it's a great little channel. Andrew, okay, and he's actually here. He's going to tell you a little bit about it. So I'm going to let you guys. If you guys have a kid who's interested in soccer, this is Andrew right here. Andrew, why don't you tell these guys about your channel? Tell them what it's about.
I made a channel. It's about FIFA videos. It's like the mobile stuff, and I'm gonna be starting some new stuff soon. On maybe on Sunday. My channel is Andrew Bergeron. It has the two soccer players on it.
Cool. Yeah. So if you have a chance, get over there. If you have kids, have them check it out. Okay. If they like soccer. So Andrew, thank you very much. He wanted me to introduce him and have his channel. So big thumbs up to him. He's trying something new. So very awesome. Very proud of him. Let me see here. Let's see the bike. Kane, congratulations. I don't know if you saw that. You're the winner at 842 spark plugs. Congratulations. That's why I had you send me your stuff. I tried calling you back, but it went to voicemail. Let's see. The bike is basically losing spark and then. Okay, so if it's losing spark, and then kickstart reverse kick. Okay. All right. So when a bike does that, typically what happens is that condenser is just giving you its last little bit. And when you're kicking it and you're running the bike, it's doing all it can to maintain that charge. So, um, hmm, the first thing I would do is, I mean, I'm assuming you already replaced the spark plug, and it's a black lettered plug. That's the first thing that I always check. And if that's the case, then what I would do is I would replace the spark plug with a new one, new set of points, new condenser, and a new felt, and check all your grounds. Yep, perfect. Yep, so that's what you're gonna have to do. Yep, tune that thing up. Cool, awesome. Thank you, Kane. Um, yeah, definitely start off with a tune-up. And I tell people it's like, well, what's a tune-up gonna do? A tune-up it does a lot. A tune-up is something that should be done every 2 to 3 years on these bikes, especially where if they don't get a lot of use, 3 years. But when you get a bike, like for instance, my KV75, for instance, okay, before I converted over to oh, forget that bike. I'll get a better example. My KM100, okay, when I got that bike, it had amazing spark right out of the gate. That bike was stored in the basement in a nice dry area. The guy had a dehumidifier in there. That bike was unbelievable. It was a basket case, but it was stored nicely. Okay. When that happened, when the guy stored it correctly, that was the first thing that happened. So the points never saw moisture. It had the gasket on them. They were dry. They were clean. The bike ran for like, I want to say a week flawlessly. I registered the bike. I took it to work. And on my way home, it started to break up. What the heck is going on? I thought I ran out of gas. That's your first thought. Well, maybe I ran out of gas. The bike was just running perfectly a few minutes ago. So you pull over, you flip the petcock up to reserve, and next thing you know, the bike fires right back up. You're like, oh, that must have been it. I was just low on gas. Then you're driving it, and what the heck? And then turns out your points are going. And it's not the points, it's the condenser. So you tear it all down, you check it all out, and the first thing we do is grab a multimeter and check the points. Boom, boom, boom. Don't do that. Throw them away, buy new points, buy new condenser, get yourself a tune up kit. Because that bike that I had, the guy had told me it sat in his basement for 10 years. It hadn't been used. Then I buy it. I bought it for $100. Now, when someone tells you, oh, the bike is sitting for 10 years, here's what I'm going to tell you, right? The bike's been either sitting for 3 years, 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, 40 years. Okay? The translation of that means they really don't know how long they had that bike for. Because I could tell you, I've put a battery in my truck, right? I put a battery in my truck one time. Okay? And it felt like yesterday I put it in. So I'm like, maybe it was a year or two ago. And then I look at the battery. I put the damn battery in 6 years ago. Like I got the full life out of this battery. And I'm sitting going, oh, yeah, I did buy that 6 years ago. People do not know when they put things away. They give you a guesstimation, and typically that's a low number because they don't want the thing to sound like a POS. Okay, so they're trying to move it. Well, it's hard to find 4 points. Yeah, it definitely is. Um, I know Dale was dealing with Ford points for a while. Ford points, there's oh, what the heck you call it? It's gonna come to me, Kane. There is a place that remakes those points. Oh, shoot, it's on a Mustang forum. They have like a whole culture of what do you call it, like Cleveland's and stuff like that. Um, man, I'm trying to think. I don't remember right off the top of my head, but points and condenser, those are part of the tune-up part. No matter what you do, the bike requires maintenance. Always going to require maintenance. You're never going to get away from maintenance. Doesn't matter what you ride. Doesn't matter if you ride a modern bike. You're still going to have to change a plug, put an air filter in it, and do oil changes. All bikes require maintenance. The older bikes require it. Excuse me. When you get the bike, what I always do is when I get a bike and I acquire a bike, I buy the points and condenser right off the bat, new plug, air filter, oil, change it all. Get that part taken care of. Then after that, everything else comes up. Oh, I was thinking about. I thought you said Ford on there. I'm sorry, my glasses are for the CB 175. Yeah, yeah, those are hard to find. Um, hmm. Geez, I'm trying to think. That I know there's a vintage Honda place. I actually saw that place on at the what do you call it there at the swap meet. Hmm. I can't think of the name of it. I'm gonna have to think about that, Kane. But yeah, there is so many. Man, there's just so much stuff, guys. So much stuff. There's such tune-ups and oil changes are your lifeblood of an engine. Period. Once you get that done, everything else is after that. Compression. Make sure you got good compression. Don't put your foot on the Kickstarter and go, okay, it's got good compression. Throw a gauge on it. Actual, yeah, common motors. Yes, I think that's what I believe that's what it was. And there's also vintage Japanese bikes. There's a vintage Japanese motorcycle club that also does those. But yeah, definitely, guys, don't throw the gauge on. Check the compression. You need 120 psi at the bottom. So if you do have a bike that has only 120 psi, that means that your rings are just about worn out. Okay, there's not much left. If it's continuously 120, okay, you want to see a higher number than 120. So basically, the higher number tells you that the cylinder is tight and your compression is excellent. Your gaskets are solid. You're good to go. Your rings and cylinder are clean and good. When you start going down the scale, like say you check the compression, it has 185, which is amazing, right? Excellent. Then you check it next year and it's got only 170. Okay, something's wearing in this motor, and that's where you're going to want to check. So when you get down to 120, 120 says, I will run, but I'm not long for the world. It's just. Wow. Yeah. Yep. Even just yeah, exactly. Even if it's just transmission fluid, because a lot of older bikes used transmission fluid, regular ATF, in the gearbox, and that was because of the clutch material. You can use that in there if it what do you call it there? If the engine if it's like a modern KE, that would take regular 10W30 or 10W40. So um, yeah, exactly. You have to just take it, do the compression, check your baffles. Now, when you check compression, okay, one of the things that is misunderstood is you have to hold it at full throttle. 10 to 40, yeah. 1040 is excellent. If you have any, Kane, I've used 15W30, 1540. On had a one out transmission. It was just the gears are really clacky. I put the 1540 in it and took care of it. It made it really quieted right down. Got a few years out of that bike. Yeah, 74 would be the time. But if the bike had automatic transmission fluid in it, you're going to want to stay with automatic transmission fluid. If it had 10W40, you're going to want to stay with 10W40. You're not going to want to go back and forth because the clutches are impregnated with that particular oil. And you on these small bikes, the clutches are only like what, that big around, so there's not much material on them. So you don't want to like on a KDX, right? The clutches are enormous. They're like 8 inches. These things are like 4.5, 5 inches. So they don't. Our clutches on our modern, like our older bikes, like the 74 you're talking about, um, that bike is not going to like synthetic. So stay away from synthetic blended oils in a older bike that has never had that. If the bike started off with a synthetic in the what do you call it, the clutches, and they were designed for that, then you'd be okay. But going from one to the other, it's not going to like it. You're gonna have a lot of problems with the clutches, a lot of slippage. Um, I had two bikes that I had acquired, two KDs, and one of them had what do you call it there? It had synthetic oil in it, and that was the guy's complaint. He goes, I just put a new clutch in it. I put synthetic 10W30 in it, and it just slips. I pulled the clutches apart, and it actually whooped the steel plate. It just overheated it from slipping. 78 kg. Yes, it is okay to run as long as it had motor oil in it, but make sure it's not synthetic. These bikes don't like synthetic. And if you have a bike that's already had a new no, I don't run zinc in them. There was the book, all my manuals call for on the KE100s, just call for a regular straight conventional oil. The zinc additive is if you have like a four-stroke engine. What the zinc additive is that was designed for four-stroke engines for the valves. And what would happen because they used leaded fuel back then, so it didn't have Yamalube is great, but that Yamalube is for the two-stroke part of that. Kane was asking about the zinc, and zinc is more for break-in, and it also helps, like in the valve train. Um, I don't know the calls for it. Yes, so that'd be a 70 Honda, it's a four-stroke. Yeah, yeah. So it would call for the zinc. The zinc also is great for the cam. So the cam lobes, when you have, I'm supposed to use zinc in my CB350 because of the type of material that the cam is made out of. No, so 10W30 and 10W40 are kind of the same thing. So what it is I'll see if I got this correct. Okay, it's 10 weight motor oil. So when it's cold out, it acts like 40 weight oil. When it's cold out, it'll act like 30 weight oil. That's where that number comes in, the 30 weight. So it'll act like 30 weight. So when it's like freezing, or yeah, I believe it's 32 degrees, that 10W40 will act like 40 weight oil when it gets cold, but it's actually 10 weight oil. The 10W30 at what do you call it there, 32 degrees will act like 30 weight. That's like why when you have a snowblower, okay, if you're from a climate that uses a snowblower or any type of cold engines, they're going to use 5W30 because it's 5 weight oil when it's warm. When it's cold out, it goes to 30 weight. See what I'm saying? So when you go to pull the engines over, it's going to be harder to pull. So that's where that comes in. Yes, you put just straight oil in the two-stroke reservoir. If you put, you don't want to that's for pre-mixing. That'll automatically pre-mix it. And rule of thumb, what I like to do is the peace of mind. So I let the tank go to a half a tank, and then I top it off. And you should be checking your reservoir every time you go to ride for the day. Not you don't have to check it every time you stop, but when you go, like say you get up in the morning, you're gonna take your bike out, you walk around it, you're checking your tire pressures, you're checking your spokes, you're checking your chain deflection, you want to be checking your oil levels. Okay, you're gonna check the motor oil in the engine. You're gonna check the what do you call it there, your Yama lube or whatever oil you put in there, your two stroke, and because that right there automatically mixes it. So you want to check your fuel, you want to check your lube, because typically I believe it's like a um, 3 tanks to one full reservoir, roughly. It's not quite a science. Some bikes do more, some do less. But in this case, you're going to want to check it, and if it gets to a half a tank, top it off. And definitely the most important thing with any automatic lube system, check the tank vent. The tank vent it's on the KEs. There's a hose that comes off the back of it, and what happens is mud daubers get inside there and build a nest, and then it stops it from breathing. So what happens is it stops the oil pump for oil, and then you have a problem. So always check your tank vents. I did a video on that too. Oil tank vents. It's very common for stuff to get in there, dirt, especially if there was oil in that line. Because sometimes you stop, you hit the brakes, the bike jerks, oil splashes up. Some oil might get into the vent tube. If oil gets into the vent tube, oil attracts dirt. It's easy to get that in there. So definitely make sure you check that. Make sure it's nice and clear and clean. Very important. You guys have some good questions. I'm loving it. Keep it going. Absolutely. Um, yeah. So back on the compression thing. A lot of people do the. I don't know what an oil bomb is. I never heard of that. But anyway, when you're doing compression, when you put the gauge on there, a lot of people just kick the bike over. What you want to do is you want to make sure that the bike is at full throttle. Okay. What that does is the engine's like an air pump. You want to suck in as much air so it can compress as much air as it can possibly compress. If you have the carburetor slide closed, it's only going to take in a little bit of air, not a whole lot. And then you're going to have an incorrect reading. You want to do two readings. You want to do the engine when it's cold. So you want to check the compression when it's cold. And then you want to compare it to when it's hot. Okay. Sometimes, if it's a one engine, the compression will go down when it's hot. Some will stay the same, and then some will increase. Okay. If it increases, that might mean you have a lot of carbon around your piston rings, and that right there is going to what do you call it there? You're getting some stuck rings, and you're not gonna have the compression. If the compression is about the same, that's kind of good. That's where you want to be. And if it goes down, that means that even when your rings are expanding, the engine just wearing itself out. So keep that in mind. And if you do come across one that is low, okay, you did it when it's cold, the compression was low, just below 120, maybe at I don't know, we'll say like 90 psi. You're going to take a tablespoon of oil, motor oil, any motor oil, or transmission fluid. You're going to stick it in the spark plug hole. Okay. Then you're going to hook your compression tester back up, and you're going to retest. And what you're doing is that oil is going to seal any cracks, crevices, scoring, or whatever. And then you're going to check your compression gauge. Boom. You're going to compress it, and then your compression should go up. If that goes up, you may have a bad cylinder, it may be scored, a worn out ring, something of that nature. So at that point, then you'd pop your 4 bolts off of your cylinder head and look inside there. Also, too, like on the KE100, the KM, and the KD, those head gaskets are copper and they're reusable. So they go on one way. You have to make sure you don't flip them or you go the wrong way. because what will happen is and I showed this on the channel a bunch of times. The cylinder is round, but the 4 bolts are offset. So what will happen is the head gasket will be off centered, and you'll have a groove here, and then it'll be covering part of the piston here. It'll cause a ticking and all that. It's not a good thing. So make sure you clean up your head gasket. You don't need to put silicone or anything like that on it. Just clean them up nicely and then put them back on. The oil change on the side. Yes. So next to the Kickstarter, there's going to be a plug on the right side of the Kickstarter. So if you look at the Kickstarter here, wing, wing, right? So right here, there'll be a plug. And you take that plug out, and oil should just start to trickle out. That's how you know you're full. And it'll be a 10 millimeter wrench head with a Phillips in the middle. And there is a crush washer on the back of that. Make sure if you take that off, you take the washer off and you clean it, and then put it back in. Yeah, that's how you tell them. And you got to have the bike upright, not on the kickstand. So a bike has to be on a level surface, off of a kickstand. Have someone hold it for you, nice and straight, and then you should be able to what do you call it there? Check that oil. Or you can do it yourself. What I do with mine is I take the plug out while it's on the kickstand, and then upright the bike and hold it up that way and see if anything comes out. It was funny. I took you guys' advice. I did the KD. I took the KD there. I rode that around the park when I was, or the fairground when I was there. I rode that around a few times. It's so nice having that bike. Kaplan actually asked me if I was selling it, if I had it for sale. I'm like, no, that's my baby. That's the only KD with CDI ignition. It's pretty neat. I'll tell you, it's funny. That bike, it's just a kick and go bike. I don't think you can possibly stop that bike. It's crazy. I did pick up a couple of things. I got a rusty exhaust system that was there that they were getting rid of, and I did a clip on it. It's a rusted, like if you look at the header pipe, it's all rotted out. It's got holes in it. Excuse me. It's got holes in it. And why would I want that? It's got a whole baffle in it. The baffle is awesome. So I'm like, I will take this from the scrap. The exhaust itself, junk. But the baffle, it's worth its weight in gold. And the guy at the swap meet, he was like, yeah, I'm not going to do anything with that. The thing's all junk. I don't even know what it goes to. People in swap meets sometimes don't even know what they have or what it came off of. They've been holding on to this thing for so long. It's amazing. Sounds good. Yeah, let me what do you call it there? Call me tomorrow, Kane, when you have a chance. I called you like probably about just before I started the live chat. So I want to say right around, I don't know, 6:30. It's a New Hampshire number. So yeah, so it was pretty cool. It was pretty cool. There's all kinds of stuff, guys. If you think about it, they had the nose cone for a Cessna airplane prop, mini bikes, parts like you can read about. I mean, I didn't find some of the stuff I was looking for. I was looking for some Honda parts that weren't there, but I did meet a person because Dale Swager and I are going to be doing a restoration on my CT70, and I found a legit parts guy that I'll be able to order parts from. Having a bit of black oil after riding bike. Okay, so there you go. That's a perfect. Thank you, Frank. That's perfect. All right. So, oil dripping out of your exhaust is a common thing when your exhaust is plugged. Okay. So, Frank, you're about to have one of those bikes that is, hold on, this thing is going to go like a rocket. Okay, here's what you do. When you have oil coming out your exhaust, it's not because it's over oiling. All right, first and foremost, here's what's happening to your bike right now. When you run your bike and your bike is sitting there idling and everything, the intake and exhaust ports for a brief moment are open at the exact same time. Okay, so that fuel and oil mixture go out the exhaust. Now the exhaust is hot. So the first thing to evaporate is the gas out of that oil. When the exhaust is plugged on one end, the oil has nowhere to go. So it travels down to the bottom of the expansion chamber, up and out, because it can't flow freely. It can't turn into a white, it can't turn into that gray smoke. Okay, it can't turn into vapor. So when it can't turn into vapor, it stays as a solid, and that's due because your exhaust is plugged. You're repacking. So when you pull your baffle out, you're gonna have a bunch of soot. Now, this applies even if you don't have a baffle. Some people are gonna be like, "Well, my bike did that; it didn't have a baffle." The packing on the inside of your exhaust chamber is saturated with oil. Something at some point got in there and clogged it. What you're gonna have to do is you're gonna have to take that exhaust off, take the baffle off, throw the exhaust onto a fire, cook it, and cook the baffle. And when you cook the baffle, okay, leave that on the flame. It's all the exhaust. You're gonna see the smoke just pour off this thing. Okay, it's gonna clean out. It's gonna make it into ash. Okay, not the baffle, but all the soot. All two strokes make soot. Now, when you burn all that off, now you're gonna have a nice, clean. You'll be able to hold it up, put some light through it, and you should be able to see through all the baffle holes. Um, when you put that back on your bike is going to be a new bike. It's going to bolt. This is actually something that should be done periodically. I have to do it to my KD80. I noticed it was smoking a lot of, the oil, the tip where it goes into a point is very oily, and my KD80 is doing the same thing. So take it off, burn it out, and definitely, definitely just cook it. Completely clogged. Yeah. Yep. So you wanna take the baffle, take the exhaust off, throw it into a fire, let it cook, and just let it cook. Flip it over periodically, like you're flipping burgers. See it burn all the flames get to all sides. You'll have to get some grill paint, repaint it. Um, there's no primer; it's just grill paint, and you can get it in flat or gloss, whichever one you want to use. I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty cool flat. But if you want the factory, you can do the semi-gloss or the gloss, and that'll clean that right out. You'll really get an improvement out of the bike when that exhaust is cleared out. And just letting you know, my exhaust was clogged on my KM so bad that I thought the rotary valve was bad. It was ticking because the it couldn't breathe. It just couldn't breathe, and that particular one was done like that. So we're gonna have a lot of tech coming up. This was the other thing I want to talk to you guys about. We are gonna have a lot of tech in the near future. The tech that I'm gonna be showing you guys is a lot of maintenance stuff that you should know, and we're gonna get into a lot more in depth why. Like for instance, this right here with the baffling. Um, I'm going to show you guys some super cool tricks, how to make some homemade tools like a pressure tester. In this case, this is my headlight tester. What's cool about this is when I built it universal. So I didn't have a 6-volt battery. I can do a motorcycle battery with this, 6-volt, or I can do my truck headlight, which is 12 volt. Hook it up to the headlight. Boom, boom, high and low, right there. And this is just made out of a Play-Doh container with a switch, and then just all wire it in. That's it. That's all there is to it. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, nothing insane. But I have a lot of tools like this that I made because they don't make it. So, and I don't want to take a multimeter. I just want to do a quick reference. Does it work or does it not? I don't care what the ohms are. I don't care what the resistance is, which is ohms. I don't care about any of that. I just want to, okay, it works. Okay, it works. I'm happy. Moving on. I do a lot of that type of things. I took an old set of fork tubes. I cut them down so that I can align my front end before I put my what do you call it there? My forks in. So I do that type of stuff. I built a couple of a block off kit. So I made a block off kit for a KE. I have to make one for a DS 100, a DS 80, and my other bikes. So we'll be I'll be showing you how to do that. Play-Doh outlet changing. Yes. So if you look at my video on Torque Monster, I have a Torque Monster video on my channel, and I put a 50 tooth on my KE 100. And what did I put on the back? I think I have a 50 tooth on the back and a 13 one. And thank you. I forgot how many teeth I have. I think it's a 13 tooth. And basically, if you put a bigger sprocket on the wheel and a smaller sprocket on the front, here's what happens. Your RPMs go up when you're riding the bike. So you're in a higher RPM band, and your bike moves slower, but it has more torque. If you want the bike to move faster, you put a bigger sprocket in the front and a smaller sprocket in the back. That's going to give you your maximum speed, like a 37 tooth. Stock is a 14 in the front and a 40 to 42 in the back, depending upon where you live. But overseas, they run a 37 tooth sprocket in the back and a 14 in the front. Because if you ever look at those guys in Pakistan, okay, they are on the same, they're on GTO 100s, GTO 125s. They don't have emissions over there. They don't care. They don't have posted speed limits. They just ride, okay? And some of the places they ride are far out. So they're using the fastest gearing that they can use. So when you put a bigger sprocket in the front and a small one in the back, your RPMs are lower because it's like overdrive, and you go further longer, okay? If you want to climb a hill or you live in a very hilly area, you're going to want to use a bigger sprocket in the back and keep the factory 14 in the front, and you'll be able to climb a hill no problem, and you'll have a good range. So what is a good sprocket for a KE 100? 40 tooth, 40 between 40 and 44 teeth. So I think they make like a 40, a 42, and a 44. Any one of those three sprockets are going to be a great asset to your bike. They're great all around bike, gearing. The 44, if you can get a 44, which is hard to find, but if you can get one, that's a great bike, especially if you live in great gearing if you live in a hilly area. Okay. If you want the bike to climb better with that, then go down on the teeth in the front. The factory is 14. If you go down to a 13, it's going to be noticeable. Certain combinations are not going to require extra chain. If you have a bike that you change the gearing, like I did to 15, I put a 50 tooth on there. Okay. For the video, I put on a length of chain added to it. Now I can take that length of chain out and put them back together and put my 42 back on there, which I have to do. But it's a big but. Okay. You don't want to drive a bike chain with a chain on it that has two links. You want to keep it to a minimum of one link. Okay, on my Torque Monster for the video, I have 2 links, and that is because I'm only doing it for the video purposes of playing around with sprockets. But I don't drive it like that. Excuse me. I don't ride the bike like that because it's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because one clip comes off, that chain's going to wrap around that engine or around the rear sprocket and could cause an accident. Motorcycle chains in general are dangerous. Having 2 links multiplies your danger because it could, either one of those could break now. So you're adding more fuel to the fire, if you will. I got a question about offline and why I chose the 80 main jet for my bikes. I believe that a richer mixture is going to keep the bike cooler. Not just I believe, it's a fact. Okay? The more fuel you have, the cooler the bike will run. The less fuel, the more air, the leaner the bike will run. Okay? Now, a leaner bike will go faster than a richer bike. Okay? Because it's like a cutting torch, like I told you. It's sharp, crisp, and it goes like a bugger. But that's the engine that burns up. Okay? The lean engine is going to burn up faster than a rich engine. So you want to have a jetting that is above lean before not too lean but not too rich. Okay, you kind of want to find a happy medium. Let's see here. .com. Okay, so you want to have that's my email right there. So you want to be kind of lean, but more rich than factory. And so the factory jets for a lot of these bikes was 72.5 or 77.5. When you put a 80 in there, it's a little bit more fuel and it allows you to you get better top end for sure, because when the main jet ends, it's typically around 3/4. Now you'll get more out of that top end. I'm going to be doing more videos on this, but I'm running a 80 jet, an 80 main on my KD80, my KM, and my KE. All use the same jetting. So when you're picking your jetting, you have to look at the bike. But I'm going to be doing a full-on jetting video, and I'm going to do it very simply. I know this is the way I'm talking about right now is complex, but I'm going to draw it out for you, and we're going to do some experiments with the garden hose and water. And I'm going to explain to you in a way that you'll be able to visually see how a carburetor works, and I got some great stuff on that. So we're going to make a carburetor for water, and we'll be doing that in the spring. Unfortunately, can't do that in the winter because it's water. But I have some really cool stuff and some experiments I'm going to show you guys. And oftentimes what you think on these bikes is not the case, like in the carburation realm of that. So we're going to have some amazing tech coming up. I'm going to show you guys how to get more power out of these bikes. I'm going to show you guys. I don't know if you saw the one where I put the high compression head on my bikes and got more power, but you have to jet for that. I'm going to show you guys how to figure out how to check, how to figure out if you're too lean or too rich. Okay. And the tools that I'm going to be using are cheap and readily available to everybody. So there's not going to be anything that's going to break the bank. Everything's going to be on Amazon. that you can get on Amazon, and I'm actually going to see about doing an affiliate link, which was the other thing that I'm going to be working on in the next month or two, is doing affiliate link for the tools that I purchase. That way, you guys get a discount. So I'm going to do basically when I do a video and I'm showing off a tool, there'll be a little link that you guys will be able to use. Like it will say Kevin Bergeron YouTube channel. You click on that one, it'll take you to that to that seller, and you can purchase the tool from them, and you'll get a discount. So I think that's the best way to go with all that, because let's face it, okay, not everybody has 28 bikes, and the bikes that you have, are the bikes that you're going to want to work on and get these bikes up and running to the best of your ability. And with this channel's help, you're gonna be right up there. You're gonna be golden. So yeah, we're gonna make sure that that's all taken care of. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's something that's coming up relatively soon. So a couple months. But yeah, wow, it is just muggy as you know what. It's crazy. But so once again, next week we're gonna do some more tech like we did the last week, which was awesome, and we're gonna keep going on in that. I wanted to talk to you guys about the Ricer Armor and Kane. Kane was our winner for the spark plug raffle, um, and we're gonna do some more raffles. You get some. He's gonna get a nice hoodie and some Super Clean products teamed up with Super Clean. They're really awesome to deal with over there. So. Um, and I'm going to find out about doing an affiliate with them and see if they want to work on some carb cleaner. I think Super Clean would be a good product to have as a carb cleaner if they could, if they wanted to get into something like that, like for the ultrasonic cleaner and stuff. So something to work on. So I'm gonna talk with them. In fact, I might do that tomorrow. Talk with them about that. Um, Guys, I am exhausted. So I'm going to let you guys go tonight. But next week, we will be back and we're going to do some tech. So I want to say once again, thank you for all your support. It means a lot to me. It means a lot to my family. And if you have a child who's into soccer, please check out the Andrew Bergeron YouTube channel, or give him just give him a subscribe, or if you can, that'll be amazing. The more people we get subscribed, as you know, that helps us grow. And I'm very into supporting younger folk who are trying to, build a channel. Not just my son, but anyone who's doing that type of stuff. YouTube is a very hard place to make a living at. It's a very hard place to get recognition, as some of you guys may know. So please, if you guys have a chance to get over there, give him a thumbs up and give him a like. Andrew Bergeron on YouTube, and you'll see his little we call soccer players on there. So, but guys, I'm going to end it now. I want to say thank you for watching again, and I will talk to you guys later. I'm out.